Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. It's Nate Grahek, and I am so honored to introduce to you guys Amy Karp. She's a photographer in Dallas. She's been shooting since 2006 professionally, and then decided to go full-time in 2009. And by the end of that year, she was published nationally. So we're going to hear more about that. And she's also going to share with us some of her tips and tricks she's learned along the way about how to grow a business and how to market it, specifically to the different types of clients she wants to get. So welcome, Amy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, you're so welcome. So let's go right back to the beginning. So when did you know you wanted to do photography professionally and start charging for your pictures?
It kind of was an accident. I was talking with my husband and telling him how much I enjoyed photography while I was in college, and I always took electives that were art driven, so whether it would be painting, drawing, photography. But then my parents always said, you know, you really need to focus on something that's going to make you money. So that's why I majored in accounting. And after I graduated, I was doing accounting full time for 8 years, but I just kept going back to that art. I was driven to stay in that and I've still remained painting and drawing. And then my husband said, you know, you really should try this professionally. Why don't you just try it out? So then I found a lot of photographers in the area that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of cold calling them, just kind of, hey, can I take you out to lunch? I want to do something for you.
Right.
I mean, now I think back and like, oh, I did this right because
Yes.
on the other end of this where I'm getting people. So anyway, yeah.
That is I want to stop there. That is such an awesome piece of advice. I think that people get really increasingly bold and selfish, and I think you've got to be in order to have that inner drive and ambition. But the best way to get something, to receive support, is to start from a place of, here's what I have to offer. Here's what can I do for you. I was just watching Sue Bryce on Creative Live last week, and she talked about doing the same thing with other vendors in her market that she wanted to do cross promotions with. And instead of cold calling and saying, hey, this is so-and-so, this is what I do, this is all about me, 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 you start with going into that person's store, buying their service, like let's say it's a salon or whatever it is, buy something from them. And then you have their attention. Then it's a fair exchange to start requesting a favor. So I'm glad you drew that out. Okay, so what happened next?
Well, a lot of people that I admired, I said, hey, can I carry your bags? I don't want you to pay me. I just want to carry your bags. I don't want to shoot. I don't want to build my portfolio based on all the hard work that you've done. I just want to watch you. I want to absorb. I want to learn. And, you know, that's really important. And I'm so glad that I went about it that way. Now, I did several things wrong. We all did. These are great things that we've learned along the way that, hey, we won't do that again.
Yep.
But yeah, that's how I got started. It's just, my husband said, why don't you just do this full time? Why don't you, not full time, but he just
start. Okay. That's so cool. And that's so nice to have somebody supportive. I think I recommend that everybody in business, you want to have somebody in each corner. Somebody saying like, no, you can't do that. It's too hard. Everybody does that and the market's flooded. And then have somebody else in your corner cheerleading, say, no, you should do it. Don't like. So that's awesome that you had that in your husband. Very cool. Okay, so then it sounds like you had a child around like 2008, and then you decided, I don't want to go back to work.
Yeah, and I like that. Yeah, I did tell you that. So I had my son. Well, I was married in 2007 myself. 2 months later, we were pregnant. Surprise!
Awesome.
It wasn't that we weren't trying, we weren't it was a surprise.
Cool.
So 2008, I had Sam, our son. He's now 4.5.
Cool.
And I took him back he went in my arms to work. And I said, you know, I can't do this anymore. And she said, like for the rest of the day? I said, no, like forever. I'm not cut out for this. I have to do something that I just felt so, I don't know, it was just in a box. And it wasn't for me.
That is so cool. I love moments like that where we have just crystal clear vision of purpose and what, like, nope, this was awesome while it lasted, but now I'm on to something different. That's so cool.
I can tell you the drive home, it was a terrifying drive home.
I bet.
Going, oh, what did I do? I have no health insurance. I have I'm not getting paid at the end of the week. Yeah. So it was like overdrive. What can I do? What can I do? We've got to figure this all out. So.
Yep. That's so cool. I think that I talk a lot about the importance of just taking action. Like we can sit and plan. There's a place. I think some depending on your personality type. I think some people value planning more than just taking action. There's a medium to find, and I've found, especially when you're starting something new, the best thing you can do is just start taking action and just get yourself out there. And when you do something like as risky and as scary as quitting a day job, you're motivated as hell all of a sudden. Like now, what was awkward to like call and do certain things that were out of your comfort zone, now it's like, I don't have the luxury to be comfortable anymore. I've just got to get out there and do it. So very cool. All right. So then you're full time and you got published nationally in a year. Like how the heck did you pull that off?
Oh my gosh. It was totally random. And to this day, I'm really excited to be published nationally. The image is about this big. However, it was my first publication. So I'm super excited. I'm pumped. On Twitter, one of the big magazines nationally, can I say who it was?
Oh, please, yeah.
Okay, Southern Weddings Magazine. One of them said, tweet me your favorite image that you shot this year. So everyone's just tweeting at her, this is my favorite. Then they sent me an email with an image release or the print release, and I just went, oh my gosh, I was chosen. And to this, leading up to the ad, or not the ad, but the PDF when it was sent to me, I had no idea how large it was going to be. I didn't know what they were using it for. Obviously, I didn't say a word to anyone that I had been selected, because what if it didn't go through? How embarrassing would that be? So anyway, it was super tiny, and whenever I said, I got published, everyone goes, can I see it? And I said, well, you'll need a magnifying glass.
That's so cool.
Super excited, though. The following spring, I was chosen to shoot a fashion shoot for a really large boutique clothing store here in Dallas. It's called Stanley Korshak. I was shooting their wedding collection. They had dresses, Vera Wang dresses, Jimmy Choo shoes, beautiful clothes. And it was a fashion shoot, and it was huge. And I got 2 covers from that shoot. So, totally was able to say, oh, well, now I'm really published.
Absolutely. So, okay, so rewind. So it sounds like a combination of just hustle, just being out there, right place, right time, having the right, like a good portfolio, a solid body of work that you can select from at those perfect moments. But how do you find somebody just starting out? Where do you look to find those like fashion shoots and stuff like that?
So I would contribute. That was a lot of networking. I got so many, not arguments, but battles of time, because I was, hey, there's a networking event, I have to go to it. Hey, I need to, I was being pulled and tugged in every different way but I needed to put my name out there, and I needed to do it fast, and I needed to hit the ground running. So networking was huge for me. Mm-hmm. Whether it was online, social media, blogging, and then just networking events throughout Dallas, throughout wherever.
Very cool. Yeah, that's really cool. It's hard to have that kind of vision, I think, early on. Some of those like professional networking events, it's hard to see the return right away. But all of a sudden, like months, sometimes years down the line, you start to see the payoff of making that impression and meeting that person and making that connection. Very smart. Very cool.
Well, the CEO, I would tell you, the fashion shoot, the CEO of Texas Wedding Guide was speaking at a workshop I was attending. And it didn't have anything to do with photography. It was about building your business plan. And I approached her after the workshop, and I said, hey, I really am interested in everything that you do. May I come into your office and sit down and just kind of listen? And you tell me more about what you do, because I'm very interested. And at that point, I'm giving her something. I'm letting her talk about herself. So, everybody likes to talk about themselves.
Yes, that's so cool. Good for you. You had really good intuition. That's awesome. And then it just goes from there. That is so smart. Okay, so then that's the other thing I want to ask you about is how you. So photography is becoming increasingly saturated. There's more and more people coming into the market. It's easier and easier to become a photographer. How did you make a unique name for yourself? And also in that, share if you want about the underwater photography you've started to do.
Oh, you almost said underwear. No, it's not that kind of shoot. Okay, so everyone can shoot a photo. Everyone can do a pretty photo. And I told my husband a long time ago, um, when you have a beautiful image and it's packaged poorly, then the person is just distracted by how poorly it's packaged. That goes for your branding, your online presence, everything. But if you have a pretty okay image and it's packaged beautifully, all of a sudden everything becomes beautiful. So I started looking for products where my clients would be blown away. What can I do that's different than anyone else? I need to make sure that my website doesn't look like everyone else, have the same theme. I've got to do something different. I have to create a niche in the photography world. So when my friend said, hey, I'm shooting underwater this summer. Do you want to come check it out? I was like, I don't know anyone that shoots underwater. I have to check this out.
That's awesome.
And then it just goes from there. So it's creating a niche, becoming, standing out for something that everyone else is doing, turning this ordinary thing into something way different than everyone else.
So so at the highest level, when did you know you wanted that vision or that whole strategy of being unique? Was that just intuitive, or where did that come from?
No, at first I was looking at everyone else's websites, everyone else's images, and going, well, their stuff looks so great. I have to make mine look like theirs. And I think the first time that I just turned everything off, quit checking out Google Reader, quit looking at other wedding blogs, and started saying, what am I really inspired by? And listening to my clients, what their story was, and trying to put everything together for them and for me, and shooting at least 40% for me, not 100% for someone else, or 100% like someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I found that it really made a huge difference, and I was getting more recognition for what I was doing because it was different, and it wasn't the same as everyone else.
Right. Very cool. I forget who says Anthony Robbins, I think, of all people, he talks about the human desire for consistency. There's some things that we like. We desire safety and consistency in the same old, while at the exact same time we desire novelty and something new and different. So it's challenging whenever you're in business to sell yourself as something that's different and unique, but then they can also trust you that like there's some elements of class and style and all of those things combined. So it's a delicate line to walk, but I think that more and more you've got to go towards that outside what you're originally comfortable with, so that you can be unique and be known for something special. Very cool. Okay, let's see. Next, I wanted to ask you, just as from a geeky side, I want to know some of the equipment you use to do underwater shoots. I've never done it before, and it just sounds like, do you shoot in your own pool? Do you shoot in any pool? Like, what do you do that?
We started shooting in my friend's pool. That's the whole idea was pretty much just spawn, shall we say, inside her pool. We used our regular Canon 5D Mark IIs, and then there's an iGlide housing. It's basically plexiglass, has handles on it and plungers for all of the buttons that you need to push.
Yep.
Each different lens has a different port. So if you're using a wider telephoto lens, you need a wider port to go on the lens, or to cover the lens going onto the body. I like the housing that I use is definitely not entry level. It's a higher end housing. It is clear, so I can dip it in the water, and if I see too many bubbles, lift it up and see if there's water floating in the bottom of it. But yeah, definitely, it's pretty simple. Then we use scuba gear, we use weights, we drop usually a black backdrop, and then test how many things will sink or float. We realized last year that vinyl records actually sink.
Wow.
But we wanted it to float. But anyway, that was a different.
That's so great. And are you finding now that when you have stuff like that on your blog, like I always hear people say, you want to put the images in your portfolio that you want to shoot more of. So
Yes.
if now that you're starting to put the underwater stuff, do you find clients that come to you specifically for that? Say, we want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you always want to show what you want to shoot.
Yep.
You've heard that term before. So before, I mean, I thought, well, maybe I want to make a separate website for this. Maybe I don't really know where it's going, but then I thought, I don't want it to separate. I don't want it to deviate from my brand. I want it to enhance my brand.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I meet with potential clients, I'm showing them my iPad and my portfolio. If they're working with a planner that's seen my underwater work, the planners always say the same thing. Show them your underwater stuff, and I get the oohs and the ahs or the why. Why would someone put their wedding dress in the water? Why would you take a family photo in the water? To some it makes no sense at all. To others, it's like, I have to do that.
Yeah.
Just because it's different.
Right. Oh, that's so interesting. And it's a risk to take that. And even if the person, I'm just going to make something up and you tell me how it can happen. What happens is people stop and notice you. Period. Like they stop and notice your work as something different than what they've seen a bunch of. And so even if they don't necessarily hire you to do underwater stuff, you probably end up still getting a bunch of business just because people have stopped to look at your work in general.
Well, when you're searching for someone and you're looking at hundreds of websites, you're going to go, well, that girl that had the red balloons, the red shoes, I mean, things start to just kind of mix all together. But whenever I meet with somebody, they go, oh, yeah, you're the one that had the underwater stuff. You had the underwater stuff on your website. So definitely, yeah, it stands out. And I don't know that it converts to more bookings, but I definitely think that it's very memorable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Very cool. Well, what other things can you share with us for somebody like just starting out, for different marketing tactics that you've tried that have worked? And we'll start with some of them that are working. Maybe if you want, you can throw in some that aren't working anymore that used to.
So SEO is big for me. I don't know. I like to have my little SEO trophy that sits on my desk, and it's imaginary and it's really big. So I blog frequently, and I think about all the keywords that I want to put in there, and if somebody's searching for something, then yes, I want my website to come up, whatever they're searching for. If they're searching for ruby red slippers, I'm going to try to type in ruby red slippers 18 times on that blog post. But make it readable so Google won't say, oh, keyword stuffing. So
right.
SEO is big for me. I really find that social media is huge, and I try to, when I'm talking to new photographers, Facebook has been my best friend. Whenever a client is working with me and I post their session, I don't tag them. I want to tell them, hey, I'm going to post a sneak peek of your session or your wedding or whatever, and I'm not going to tag you, but please feel free to tag yourself. So then it shows the client XYZ tagged themselves on Amy Karp Photography instead of Amy Karp tagged so-and-so. And then all of their friends go, well, who's Amy Karp? And then, your network is just tripled whenever one person tags themselves. And then it's sending a sneak peek on their phone. I'll often take a quick photo of the back of my camera and text it to my client on their way home from the shoot and say, oh, I love this one. I can't wait to see it big. So I'm excited about it. They get their phone. They show it to mom. They show it to boyfriend, whatever. They're excited. So I love the walking, talking billboard for me. I can certainly do all the things that I can do, but then I need to send out tentacles in other directions. Oh. So social media has been huge for me.
Yep. Good analogy or good adjective, tentacles. I like that. You want people marketing for you. Very cool. Do you do like referral programs at all?
Yes. So whenever I send out my welcome packet, I don't have wedding packages. What I do, I don't want somebody to book me on the spot for a cap. I want to have them fall in love with all of these different things that I do for them. And then after the engagement session, after they look at their images and go, I look really good, I want them to book my biggest album. I want them to book 6 more hours of coverage. You know, all these different things. I want them to really feel like this is an investment and this is well worth the investment. I don't say package A costs this. I forgot what the question was.
No, whatever it was, that was a good answer. I'm really interested in hearing how you do that. So you do the
referrals.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Referrals. Yep.
Okay, so in my welcome packet, once a client books me, they get all of this stuff, all these goodies. They open it up and go, ooh, this is. I send them a little tote bag. It's a zipper tote bag. They can carry it around town. It has my name on it. And I haven't had one yet to tell me, oh my gosh, how tacky. Well, I don't know that they would say that to my face. I've had them say, I love the bag. So inside, there's a little tiny thing that says, don't forget to choose all of your add-ons to receive your discount within 2 weeks before your wedding. And if you send me a wedding client, and then I give them a dollar amount. So they see this, it's like a two birds, one stone kind of thing.
That's so smart. So they get, you're having them commit up front to their packages before the wedding happens. So they're high on use the engagement session as a way to really show off your stuff, have them fall in love with your work, and make that decision up front. Even before the day of the wedding, you want them to commit to what the products they're going to get.
Well, most wedding, well, I don't say most. A lot of wedding photographers will have 3 packages, 3, 4, 6, whatever. So they have package A being $1,000, package B $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So mine is one basic. This is what it costs for me to take this day off my calendar. And then inside that day, you can add on all of these other things. You can add on a parent album, additional albums, coverage, bridal session, whatever. But I don't want them to make that decision until we've established more of a relationship.
Absolutely. Really smart. Cool. Last question on the sales side. Do you do in-person sales sessions, or is it all online proofing? How do you do that?
All online proofing for me. My sales are driven. I'm a wedding photographer, so I charge more up front.
Yep.
For even my portrait sessions, it's all online. I'm charge up front. It's little on the back end.
Good for you. Yeah, everybody's got a different system that works for them. That's awesome. Okay. So lastly, I know you've just recently discovered sticky albums. I want to know how you heard about us, and what you've shared them with a handful of your customers already. What are they saying?
Okay, so I was preparing to speak at the iHeartFaces conference, and I spoke on business with Stacy Reeves. She and I were talking about different ways to make more money in your business, marketing, all these things that we've been talking about today. So it's really exciting to kind of recap.
Yep.
So Stacy and I met a few weeks before, and we were going over the different key points that we wanted to discuss, and sticky albums was one. And she says, I use sticky albums. And I said, what is sticky albums? And she said, let me show you what sticky albums is. So she pulls out her phone, and I said, I need sticky albums. My clients need sticky albums. So I went home that day, signed up for your service, created a little gallery of a real client, emailed her, and she had not seen any of her photos. It was a beauty shoot, so I couldn't post sneak peeks online, you know, a mom in her underwear. So she's looking at them, and she writes me back and says, I look hot.
So cool. That's so cool.
That's how I found you.
I love it. That's so cool. So since then, you've used it with a couple other clients. What are some of the reactions they're having?
So 2 wedding clients. The first wedding client is a hairstylist for a high-end hair salon here in Dallas. So she has 20 people in her chair a day. And this is the perfect person you want to be your evangelist. You want this person to just walk and talk and sing her praises. So as soon as her wedding was over, I compiled all of my favorites, did a quick blog post, and sent her all of the images on a sticky album. And then everyone's, seeing this new shiny ring she has on her finger saying, oh, yeah, your wedding was last weekend, or your wedding was 2 weeks ago. And then she pulls out her phone and says, yeah, check it out. So here, it's an awesome product. I love it. I love it. I love it.
That's so fun to hear. I love those stories. Very cool. So how do you anticipate using it going forward? I think there's a lot of photographers that use it as an add-on product. A lot of them just giving it away as a surprise, giving it away as a holiday card this holiday season. How do you envision yourself using this down the road?
I just feel like it would definitely be a cost of doing business for me, because it's marketing. So I wouldn't feel like this is an add-on. This is not something I want to charge my client. This would be a gift to my client, because the gift that they're giving me is way bigger than what I'm giving them. They're huge. I mean, they're sitting there and they're holding out their phone. And, you've got kids. Look at this picture of my kid. Okay, so now take that away. There's the mom showing pictures of her daughter's bridals, because daughter just said, oh, it's viral. It's awesome.
That's so cool to hear.
Tentacles.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, so I'll share this. I'm super stoked. When I post this video, it's probably going to be about the time when we're launching the next version of sticky albums, where we're adding the ability to view analytics. So you'll be able to see how many times your album's been opened and by how many different people.
Oh.
And so, well, I think that's cool. The distinction is, yeah, great. It's going to be cool if you have 100 people. That would be amazing if you had 100 different people open the app. But what the number to really pay attention to, I think, is just how many times it's been opened, because that means somebody's opening it to share it. And yeah, they'll look at it themselves a bunch too. But that's what's so powerful, is it's got the social networking things built in, so you can easily share it to all of those places. But what I continue to harp on is the difference that in-person conversation means, where somebody's just like you did. I won't even try to impersonate you. You just did it perfectly. Like the moms, the family, like people just love. That's all part of the experience. And I think sometimes we get lost in the line items of the products we're selling, and we need to remember that we're selling an experience. And more people want to share that experience with their mobile devices. I like your story about, it's a good tactic of just taking a picture yourself and sending it to somebody, where they can really quickly see just a tiny preview, a sample, build suspense and gets them excited, and already something they can share. Just the other day I was talking to another customer. He was on a family shoot, did the same thing, and turned the camera around to show the 12-year-old a cool shot, and the 12-year-old quick whipped out his phone and tried to take a picture of the photographer's LCD. And I think it's really representative of how much we want things on our phone from any age. I thought this was only going to appeal to high school seniors, because that was my niche when I first launched sticky albums, but every day I hear all these examples where all ages have smartphones now, and they want their stuff on their phones, and this lets you do it. So,
Instagram's the hottest one.
Yeah, I bet. So, do you leverage Instagram at all?
I don't, but I have a 12-year-old niece and a 16-year-old niece, and they're on Instagram doing the duck face and posting pictures of their friends. So I really want to figure out, okay, how can I use this to my advantage?
Yep.
So
I've seen a couple photographers I think it's getting easier to do this now, with especially the iPhone 5 has such a sweet camera on it. To either take I like your idea of taking the back of your screen, or I think I know I've seen other people, I've never done it myself though, how you would get one of your own pictures. Maybe you have to do it on the computer, but no, that's only a mobile app. Now I'm all confused. Anyway.
Well, you could email yourself the
Bingo.
image.
Why am I trying to explain it? You know it. So that's how you do it. Okay, you email yourself the image, or just the day of the wedding. This is where I've seen it done well. Is when you're able to do it like take a quick shot with your phone and put it on your Instagram or share it to Facebook right away, you're the first one. And now it's all like, you've got to hurry up. If you're going to be the first one to get on the stream, you've got to do it like right away. But then that one picture will just go viral on the guest page, on your page, etc. So there's more and more. There's no longer like a single strategy you can use. It's just finding a bunch of cool ones and finding the ones that work for you and making it your own.
Oh, definitely. You have to have so many buckets in your marketing pond.
Yeah.
Because it is, if you don't, I mean, you cannot put all of your things in one bucket because there's so many ways that you need to interact with people.
Right, right. And you've got to hit them. Like the part that blew me away is like email marketing. I didn't do much email marketing as a photographer, and now I am. Because I've learned how effective it can be when you email somebody like a valuable, not spam, but like if you send them something they value that helps them learn about something or whatever it is, they'll continue to read it, and it builds that relationship over time. Where just because somebody sees your brand once isn't enough anymore. You've got to hit them multiple different ways in multiple different mediums, and then they finally start to take action and find you out. So I could go on and talk to you all day. This has just been wonderful, Amy. Thank you so much for your time. I really wish you the best of luck in all that you're doing, and I think we should do a follow-up. I want to hear the different creative ways you think of using sticky albums and other creative marketing ideas you come up with in the next year. So thanks so much again for joining us, and you have a wonderful day.
Thanks. You too.
Cheers.